Hello there. I added some stuff to the game. Made it so that the character is looking at the mouse cursor, and if I switch the lantern to my other hand, well, let's turn the lights on for now. I also, for debug reasons, I added the daytime cycle to be, or change it to be faster. Um, I played around with some of the assets, um, reduced colors from them, and gave a bit more thought for the palette. For the ground, I haven't done anything yet. Also switched around how some of this stuff is, like these silhouettes are drawn. Um, if I move here, yeah, here you can see it better. Like there are like these semi-transparent tiles on top of this, um, on top of the level, and they can be used to create these kind of shadowed sections of the level. There's no gradients or anything here, so it's just like a sharp cut here. Um, but it can be changed, of course. I'm not yet sure if I'm gonna keep it. If I turn off the light, you can probably see that there's like this um, circle around the player. That's always cutting away from the silhouettes at some kind of opacity, or reduces the opacity of the silhouette, so you can see um, your surroundings better, and then you can kind of like look around with your mouse cursor. And I added this kind of like walking stick or a spear for the guy, just to visualize a bit better the switching of items. This is just like a placeholder stuff, but anyway, it works, or sort of works. Like the item is sort of like stuck on his hand, and if I switch to the lantern, um, the guy is carrying the spear, his offhand, so he's using like the lantern for now. Anyway, that's quite easy thing to do. I'm using sequences for tracking like the hand positions, and at some point I'll add more functionality to that. Like most likely we'll build the character from like pieces, like head, torso, arms, legs, so it's easier to sort the drawing order of things, so that the spear wouldn't be like on top of the on top of the arm or hand, but it would be like between the hand and the torso, or the actual body of the character, so look a bit better. Um, Let me hop into a different level. You can see that I've been messing around with the backgrounds too, just trying stuff out. Oh, wait. I think it's on the. Let me turn on the daytime cycle again. Still haven't fixed this camera thing. here. So if I turn on the debug view, you can see that I've added these collisions here. This is just a base for me to build on top of. So the arrows point to the direction that is blocked. So one way to put it is that the arrows are pointing to the direction that you can move to. And I will have to add like these corner pieces too. Then I've been thinking about adding like actual height for the ground. So you could, like if I turn off these, like now I'm standing on top of this ledge, and you would expect that if you walk down from here or jump down from here, you would like land here. So that's something I have to add to the game. I have a pretty good idea already how I'm gonna do it. And yeah, so that would mean that because this isn't really like a super standard tile-based level creation that I'm doing, so I have to like get a bit creative how to do the height, because there are these like kind of like slopes here. Like if you look at this, because here's this ledge, it looks like this portion of the ground is higher than this, but it also makes sense for you to be able to just like walk around here. So I have to add like tiles that define like which side of the tile is higher and which is lower, or something like that. It will be quite interesting. Yeah, let's hop back to this starting level. Yeah, so these silhouette things, they were kind of painful, or rather than the silhouettes, but these background layers that you can see here. Getting them drawn properly, so that the I turn on the daytime cycle again. So if I walk here, you can probably see it. Like if I'm standing here, you can see that my light is lighting the actual level here, and it's also lighting that first background layer. But the assets on the background layer, they won't be casting shadows or anything. I was also thinking about making it so that stuff on the level, like that's if you look at the character's shadow, so that the stuff on the level wouldn't be drawn, or the shadows wouldn't be drawn on these background layers. But I'm not yet actually sure if I even want to remove it, because at certain times it does look quite okay, like in these kind of more like dense parts, um, like this big tree, it's casting the shadow there. I don't know if you can see it, but I don't mind that. So yeah, it's been progressing quite well for the past few days, uh, or at least last day, because I had a bit of a struggle with these background layers here, like these level backgrounds. I was trying to do them in an unnecessary complicated way, and I switched to using like tiles for these trees. These trees here are actually made from like a tile set, and I just took like the existing sprite assets and converted those into a tile set, and didn't really do anything else. So, but it works in my opinion quite well already. And if I would actually like make a proper tile set for these, it would be quite easy to create like a thick forest and stuff like that. Here you can see if I zoom in, like there's some pixels missing from there, and that's just because I've just slapped it together, the tree. So it's far from perfect or anything. But yeah, that was a nice nice way to get things progressing quicker again. Like if I hit a problem that I wasn't able to solve, um, and I just like adjusted my thinking about the problem and ended up with a solution that is probably more efficient, and I was actually having fun with the whole thing again, and it's really easy to modify and adjust uh, these background layers now. So yeah, kind of like a happy accident. Sometimes you just have to like rethink your goal a bit. Um, One thing that I did change too. Now I'm just gonna warp through the collision so that you can see a bit better. Um, I changed these background images, at least some of them. They are the same old images, but I kind of like scaled them down. I made them half size of the previous size. So uh, previously, for example, this tree here would have been the same size as this tree here, and it looks okay, or looked okay, like the scale. And I'm not talking about the look of the actual like asset itself, like how well made of a 2D tree that is, but I'm talking about like the like a bigger picture, like the how far away it is, and does it like convey the feeling of distance. And it was okay that the like the level behind you, or behind these level backgrounds, was pretty close, but it was also a bit confusing. So I think it's probably better this way. Of course, I have to at some point put some time into these backgrounds, and I've actually been thinking about because using tiles is quite fun, and in many sense it's quite a lot easier than doing like an actual uh, like a like an image. Because I could probably automate like how these background images are kind of like linked together. Currently there's like 190 um, images or something like that being drawn in the background, and it gets a bit heavy. So there's a lot of room for optimization, and with that kind of optimization, I will probably solve other issues too. It will be interesting to mess around with those. One thing that will be missing then, if I go with the tile maps for the background world background images, is that currently if I zoom in like a lot in here, you can see that these really far away images, you can get a lot of definition out of them. And well, if this game had like spy glasses or something like that, this would be actually pretty cool thing to have. But if I go with tile maps, and the tile maps are like in actual size, so that the far away tiles would be, or images that would be built with tile maps, they would be really small, and when you would zoom in, well, the pixels would be like the size of stuff in the foreground, which in itself might be a bit of a problem. I have to. I'm kind of like thinking as I'm going, thinking as I'm going, like just like I'm not yet sure how I want to do it. But anyway, there's a lot of room for optimization with the world backgrounds. But I'm really happy with the level backgrounds for now, that how the light is affecting them, and with some tweaking to these silhouette layers and with that darkness thing, I think I'm finally heading to the direction I want to. Um, but yeah, small things are still missing. Like for example, kinda would like to have the light, like the actual player light that I'm carrying around. I walk here, you can see it on the ground. Um, like I would like to have it have some effect on certain aspects of this darkening and things like that, but it's not a real issue at all. So yeah, adding these collisions and some kind of item system for the character. Like I could I could make it so that when you like click with your mouse, you would poke with the spear or something, so you could have like interaction with the surroundings already. You could stab like a rabbit or whatever. But I think for now, um, I'll keep working with the collisions and the like more like graphical elements of the map. Figure out how to do the height for these tiles, and jumping up and down, and checking how like your own height. So if you walk down from here, you would actually fall, and you fall down from great enough height, you would break your legs or something. So yeah, a lot of tile work to be done, and some kind of logic for the height. And then while I'm at it, I will probably redo all the ground tiles, and whatever I end up with, well, I guess it's time to try creating these backgrounds with tiles, which will be quite interesting to see how that goes. I'm in a way quite excited about the whole thing, because it will probably make my life easier in the long run. And for example, how these levels are represented in the world backgrounds. Well, you could like just draw, if you have like a level, you could just like draw um, tile maps like into that level while you're working at it, and like build like a tile set or like a tile map that would represent a portion of the level. For example, this part could be like a small bump in the world background. Of course, it's not one to one, but it's like gives you a clue what's there. And while you're working with the level, and if you do like changes to it, it would be quite easy to just like do the changes manually for the tile map that's going to be shown in the world background. And if I keep like a nice logic with the way I build those tile maps, it would be, well, it probably would help a lot with how these images then are like when they're like stacked and next to each other, how they would like blend in together and things like that. There's a lot of possibilities to experiment with there. Let me see. I'm just gonna. Oh yeah. This is like full HD resolution. My FPS is tanking, but it's to be kind of like expected with the capture running in the background. Um, I do have a bit of an issue with the frame rate, but I'm not very worried about it yet, because if I turn off these background elements or world background layers from here, if I turn those off, I don't really have any issues with the frames. And same goes with the lighting. Um, I have ideas how to optimize it, and but it's for later. I rather fix it when it's actually an issue. But I'm fully aware that I will have to tackle that at some point. I just want to concentrate on different things for now. It was quite fun to add something like this spear. Just easy, fun, and oh, and how the character is like looking at my mouse pointer. Like those are really easy things to do, and they kind of like give you the energy to keep on working on the thing, and because you're not always just like fighting with some kind of technical issue or problem that you have to solve, which is fun too, but it's nice to sometimes just to do something a bit more relaxing, like uh, art for the tiles and these trees and whatnot. These are actually just the old trees. I just swapped the colors in them. Alright, that's about it. Cheers.